Insubordinateness. Very good. So now that we master our own body language, now we know the tools, like what can we do in our own body language. Now, let's say if others can bring up bad communication habits with body language, what can you do about this? So let me give you an example. So I was doing a seminar in California, okay? And it was a one-day seminar. I'm glad it was, because there's two gentlemen that they walked in that they've been sent by the union to come over and take this two-day seminar, a one-day seminar. And they had some conflict with a customer, and they've been sent there, and as a result, they sent the whole department with them, okay? So everybody else were not happy to be there. So these two men, they were just sitting, okay? I'm going to actually demonstrate for you if, actually they don't have one. All right, so imagine this chair is like lower, okay? And they're sitting, and here's how one person's sitting. And then he goes, the first 30 minutes, he goes, I kid you not, I'm not exaggerating, that's exactly what he did, okay? So now I'm training a course in communication. So if I just let this go, I'm going to lose the crowd. Nobody's going to listen to me. Who's going to listen to me if I'm not actually allow this to happen? I'm teaching about assertive communication skills. So I applied the 3-step pattern, which I'm going to show you right now how to do it. So first I stopped and I looked at him and was like, I just noticed that you yawned out loud, okay? I'm assuming that you're tired. And right before I finish the word tired, he jumps in. It's like, yeah, I just didn't sleep all night. What happened there?
He broke the whole rhythm of his yawning, and he broke everybody's following him. They thought, okay, now it makes sense why he did that.
Very good. Excellent. That's one. So I kind of like, now they know what happened. Very good. And as far as him, what did I do with him? I engaged him. I point that out. I didn't let it slide. Very good. And how did I engage it? Direct. Okay, being very assertive about it. Also, what else? There's one key. What's that? I gave him an out. That's exactly right. Teresa, I gave him an out. How did I give him an out? I said he's tired. I assumed. I said the word assume. I'm assuming you're tired. Okay, I give him a way out. There's a chapter in a book called The Art of War. Okay, they talk about powerful leaders. They give their enemy a way to retreat. Always they give him a way to retreat. Why? Exactly. It's much less costly to run away than fight. You don't want to fight someone that is like on the corner. Now they're going to find you 10 times harder because now they're protecting themselves and their lives. So it's saving their lives. So you always want to give someone to retreat. So what I'm doing right here with this person is I gave him a way out. I gave him a way to retreat, to correct it, versus having to tell him this is rude or I saw you're yawning, right? So I avoided that. So the 3-step process is this. Step number 1, you want to point out the behavior. What's the word? Behavior. So when I say behavior, what's the difference between behavior and attitude? Behavior is a choice. Okay, let me hear more. What is it? It's an action. That's right, Paul. So behavior is an action. It's a fact. Versus an attitude is an opinion, a story. Something that happened is a behavior versus your interpretation will be a attitude. So here's how it sounds like. I noticed that you yawned. Okay, that is, I'm pointing out the behavior. That's a fact. You can prove it. It's true, right? What could I have said if I want to point out the attitude? You're being rude. Okay, that's a perception. Does that make sense? Okay, all right, good. So why is it important to point out the behavior, not the attitude? Exactly, it could be wrong, and even if you know it's right, which I know he was BSing me when he said he was tired, right? I know that, but it doesn't matter, because if I'm pointing out the attitude, he could say like, how do you know I don't care? Let's say if I say, you seem like you don't care. How do you know I don't care? Actually, you're the one that don't care. And now you're actually fighting with that person. Does that make sense?
If you were to point out his attitude, you're throwing down the gauntlet and you're now challenging him.
Yes.
You're going into battle.
Exactly, because people will defend their identity. Nobody wants to have their ego struck. like going after the ego, the identity. Okay, you don't want to go after the ego. You don't go after the attitude. You point out the behavior. You want to distinguish, uncollapse the identity from the behavior. Once you do that, that will make you a phenomenal communicator, especially during conflict. Okay, communicating through conflict. This is one tool that you can take, and it's very, very powerful. Always, always, always point out the behavior, not the attitude. People will take it personally when you're pointing out the attitude. When you say you seem like you don't care, or you could care less, or you're rude, now you are attacking their whole identity. Versus you saying, I notice you yawn. That's a fact. I'm pointing out just the behavior. Okay, so that's step number one. Step number two, you make an assumption. And we talked about right now is why would you make an assumption? You give them an out. Very good. And step number three, you ask, is that true? You ask, is that true? What would that do when you ask if that's true or not? What does that do? Exactly. Now it's on them. Now, what options do they have? They could say yes or no, right? If they say yes, it's true, okay, I'm tired, great. Now, do you think, are they more likely or less likely to do it again if that's something they're doing on purpose in the future? Way less likely. Why? Because you pointed out, right? You didn't just let it slide, okay? Or you called them out, exactly. And the second option would be they say, no, I'm fine. Even if they said they're fine, are they more likely or less likely to do it in the future? Less likely. Either way, they're going to be doing less likely they do it in the future. Why? Because you are pointing that out. You are not rewarding that behavior. This formula, write it down. BR equals BR. What does that stand for? I said it this morning. What does it stand for, this formula? Behavior rewarded equals behavior repeated. Say after me. Behavior rewarded equals behavior repeated. Okay? So when you reward a certain behavior, you can almost guarantee that this behavior is going to be repeated. So unless you point that out. If it's a positive behavior, perfect. You want to reward that behavior. If it's a negative behavior, you want to point it out. You want to call them out on it. Okay? Because consider some difficult people, they know that their behavior has been serving them since they were kids playing on the playground. Okay? They want to get what they want. They know how to get what they want by throwing the attitude, by rolling their eyes, by sighing, okay? By mumbling as they're walking away, by slamming the fist on the table, okay, when they get to their desk. How many behaviors do you see? Okay? I've been hearing a lot, so whatever you're going to say, I probably heard it. So besides mumbling, sighing, rolling their eyes, looking at the watch in a meeting, what else? What other bad body language you see, you notice at work? What is it? Crying. Okay. What else? Mm-hmm. What is it? Well, how would that look like? Oh, just not responding at all. Okay. That's withdrawing. Very good. What else?
Escalating their voice.
Oh, raising their voice. Okay. Very good. What else? Lack of effort or lack of productivity. And how does that show in their body language? How can you point to behavior? Very good. And the key here, Isaac, is not taken personal. Because the key here, the average lawsuit in the United States is $400,000. The lawsuits because employees getting fired based on their attitude. And the employees are coming back and suing the companies, and 71% of these lawsuits are in favor of who, do you think? The employees. Okay? Why? Because nowhere in the job description says that you can't roll your eyes. Right? Nowhere in the job description said that, you have to say good morning back to your manager, or to smile back to a coworker, right? Or you have to, respond when a manager is talking to you. Nowhere does it say that. So that's why you got to be very careful. When you notice behaviors like that, an attitude, you want to point out the behavior, never the attitude. Does that make sense? Yep. All right, good. So with this 3-step process, when you point out the behavior, you want to use what kind of statements? I statements. So I noticed, okay, that you slammed your fist on the table when you went back to your desk. When you make an assumption, in order for this to work, what kind of assumption you got to make? Positive or negative? Positive. If you say, I notice you rolled your eyes, I'm assuming that you could care less. What that's going to do? That's going to create conflict, doesn't it? It's not going to serve you. So you want to make a positive assumption. If someone is rolling their eyes, oh, I notice you rolling your eyes, I'm assuming that you have better ideas. Is that true? Okay. I notice you're looking at the watch, I'm assuming that you have, a place that you need to be at. Okay. So you always want to find a positive assumption. And if you find yourself having a hard time